And it's not like I'm untouchable. I can be killed as soon as I get out of here. You know what I mean?
Every day is real. That's how real it is. I think somebody's trying to kill me. I'll be waking up.
Let's say, worst thing comes to worst, I die a tragic death or some shit, and I'm not able to see out my dreams. I at least.
I feel like everybody dying young. You know what I'm saying? Not foreshadowing anything or wishing that upon myself.
I know.
But like.
Hey, he put the peep here, so when you come in and see that, just know that that's a little peep memorial. Well, not a memorial because he's not dead yet, but he's working on it.
They all said it on camera, every single one of them, and then every single one of them was gone. September 1995. Tupac Shakur is locked inside Clinton Correctional Facility in upstate New York, serving time on a abuse conviction. The East Coast-West Coast war is at an all-time high. People are dying, and Tupac, stripped of his freedom, stripped of his money, stripped of everything he'd built, is sitting in a prison cell, talking about what happens when he gets out. But it's not about revenge. It's not about death row. It's about something much darker. He's talking about what happens if he doesn't make it. What's haunting about this clip isn't the words themselves. It's the calm. There's no panic in his voice, no desperation. He's speaking the way someone speaks when they've already made peace with something. When the worst case scenario has stopped being a fear and started being an expectation.
People just get turned on to me. If you go backwards and you listen to the other albums I've put out, it was a prophecy. This album, Me Against the World, was made before I went to jail, before I got shot. And all I'm talking about is going to jail and getting shot.
He called it a prophecy. His own music, his own words. He said he was predicting the future before the future even happened, and people just weren't listening close enough. And the thing is, he was right. Go back and listen to So Many Tears. Go back and listen to Lord Knows. The man was writing his own obituary and calling it an album.
And go, whoa, you know what I mean? He said that. If I die tonight, he said that. In Outlaw, where I said some dudes in a mask coming to shoot me, I said it, you know what I mean?
He said it himself. Dudes in a mask, coming to shoot him. He wrote it, he recorded it, he put it in a song, and now here he is in prison, connecting the dots out loud. Not for dramatic effect, not for the cameras. Just stating facts like a man who has stared at the end of the road long enough to know exactly what it looks like.
And it's not like I'm untouchable. I can be killed as soon as I get out of here. You know what I mean?
He knew. He knew the moment those prison doors opened, he was walking back into something he might not survive. He'd already been shot 5 times in the lobby of a New York recording studio and lived. He wasn't naive about what the world outside was capable of, but he still walked out. Because that was Tupac.
You know what I mean? But the only thing that can kill me is death. That's the only thing that'll ever stop me is death. And even then, my music will live forever.
12 months after that interview, September 13th, 1996, Las Vegas. A white BMW pulls alongside Suge Knight's car at a red light. 4 shots hit Tupac. He held on for 6 days. He was 25 years old when he died, and everything he said in that prison cell came true. The only thing that stopped him was death, and the music, still here, exactly like he said it would be. Tupac laid his prophecy out in words. But what happens when a rapper doesn't even need words? When just the look in their eyes is enough to send chills down your spine? It's late 1996. Tupac is barely in the ground, and the streets are still hot. The East Coast-West Coast war has just taken its biggest loss, and everyone in hip-hop is on edge, watching their backs, wondering who's next. The LAPD case is stalled, threats are everywhere, and in the middle of it all, Christopher Wallace is sitting in front of a camera. Not okay. This isn't Big Papa. No punchlines, no charisma, no performance. Just a man, stripped of everything, speaking on what's really going through his head every morning. The clip stands out because of how small it makes him seem. And Biggie was never small, larger than life in every room he entered. But here, there's none of that, just fear.
Every day is real. That's how real it is. I think somebody's trying to kill me. I'll be making up.
Not might be, not people are talking. He thinks somebody's trying to kill him. Present tense, active. real. And after what happened to Tupac, after watching his former friend get shot dead in a car just like his, nobody in that room had the right to tell him he was being paranoid.
I'll be making up paranoid. I'll be really scared. I'll just be paranoid. That's just the way I am. You know? You seeing me? Scared to death.
Scared to death. Those were his exact words. And the cruelest irony of all, the album sitting in the can, already recorded, already finished, was called Life After Death. He made an album called Life After Death, and then 6 months after this interview, on March 9th, 1997, Christopher Wallace was shot and killed in a drive-by on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. He never got to see it come out. The case has never been solved, but he told us. He sat in front of a camera, looked someone in the eye, and told us exactly how it felt to be him. Nobody listened hard enough. Biggie's paranoia was real, and it was earned. But some rappers didn't come from street beefs. They came from something deeper. A whole generation of artists staring into the void and pulling people in with them. Gustav Orr, Lil Peep, was 21, and the voice of a generation that finally felt understood through his music. Before people even had a name for it, he was blending emo and rap, turning pain into something millions connected to. He made people feel less alone. But what gets overlooked is that Peep wasn't playing a role. He was really struggling, openly, constantly, in his music, interviews, and online. It was like he was putting it all out there, hoping someone would catch it before it was too late. He talked about death so casually, it stopped sounding alarming, and the people around him started treating it the same way, like it wasn't a warning, just something inevitable.
Hey, he put the Peep here, so when you come in and see that, just know that that's a Lil Peep memorial. Well, not a memorial because he's not dead yet, but he's working on it.
He's laughing when he says it, and that's what makes it so hard to watch now, because it sounds exactly like a joke. It sounds like dark humor from a kid who's too clever for his own good. But he's pointing at his own memorial. He built it, he named it, and then he stood next to it and laughed. Some things are funny until they become the last thing someone ever said. But then there's a different clip, a quieter one. No laughing, no performance. Just Peep sitting there talking about death like he'd genuinely thought about it. Like it wasn't hypothetical at all.
You could just wake up again. I have no idea. I'm not like, I know there's something because you can't kill energy, you know what I mean? Energy doesn't die.
He believed energy doesn't die. He believed it leaves your body and floats out somewhere, into the atmosphere, into other people, into things you can't explain. And when he brought up feeling the presence of people who had already passed, the way he said it wasn't spooky, it was peaceful, like he already knew what that transition felt like from the inside.
You could see like a weird, like, I don't even know what the fuck to call it, but it leaves your brain and like just like floats out to like, you know, the atmosphere, whatever the fuck. I feel the presence of a lot of people who have passed away too.
And now, knowing what we know, every single clip of Lil Peep from his final months gets watched differently. People slow them down. They look at his eyes. They look for the moment he knew. Like somewhere in the footage, the answer is hiding. November 15th, 2017. Lil Peep was found unresponsive on his tour bus in Tucson, Arizona. Alone, after a show, in the back of the bus. He died from a fentanyl-laced Xanax overdose. He was 21 years old. The energy left, just like he said it would. Lil Peep spoke about death like it was always near him. But what about an artist who sat on camera, looked directly into the lens, and spelled out his own ending, word for word, like he was recording his own eulogy? By 2018, José Onfroy, XXXTentacion, was one of the most polarizing figures in music. The controversy around him was real and complicated and loud. Critics called him dangerous. Fans called him a savior. The internet had already made up its mind about who he was, and he knew it. He lived inside that noise every single day. And then one day, he sat down in front of a camera. And he didn't rap. He didn't perform. He didn't play any character. He just started talking about dying. Not abstractly, not metaphorically, He started talking about it like a man who had genuinely run the numbers and arrived at an uncomfortable conclusion.
Let's say, worst thing comes to worst, I die a tragic death or some and I'm not able to see out my dreams. I at least...
He didn't say if. He said, worst thing comes to worst. Like it was already on the table. Like dying was one of several outcomes he'd mapped out, and he was just working through the logistics of what it would mean. He was 20 years old when he said this. 20.
I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves and able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive.
He wasn't thinking about himself. He was thinking about the kids watching him, about what they'd carry when he was gone. That's not the thought process of someone who thinks they're going to be around forever. That's legacy thinking. That's a man preparing a handoff.
And to at least have a good life. I at least, if I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy, or they found some sort of answers or resolve in my life.
Or ever be a sacrifice. That word, sacrifice. He chose it deliberately, not if I die young, not if something happens to me. Sacrifice. Like he understood his death might serve a purpose bigger than his life. On June 18, 2018, XXXTentacion was shot and killed in Deerfield Beach, Florida, during an apparent robbery. He was 20 years old. The message reached hundreds of millions of people, way more than 5 million. XXXTentacion put it into words. But what about an artist who put it into music and then died months after the record dropped, like the song already knew what was coming? Malcolm McCormick, Mac Miller, spent years being the guy who seemed like he was going to be okay. He'd pulled himself back from the edge before. He talked about it openly. He made music about it. He was self-aware in a way that made people believe he had a handle on things, that the darkness in his art was being processed, not consumed. Then came Swimming. Released in August of 2018, a gorgeous, devastating album about treading water, about fighting to stay above the surface when every part of you wants to go under. People called it his best work, a sign of growth, a sign he was healing. And then, 31 days after it came out, he was gone.
9 times out of 10 I get it wrong. That's why I wrote this song. Tell myself to hold on. I can feel my fingers slipping in a motherfucking instant I'll be gone.
In a motherfucking instant I'll be gone. He recorded those words. He sang them. He approved them. He put them on the album he released a month before he died. And everybody heard it as art, as metaphor, as the beautiful kind of sadness that Mac had always turned into something worth listening to. Nobody heard it as a countdown.
Do you want it all if it's all mediocre? Staring at the wall and the wall full of posters. Looking in my dreams, who I want to be.
Staring at the wall, looking at his dreams on a poster like they were already behind glass, already framed and mounted and finished. There's a longing in those lyrics that goes beyond sadness. It sounds like someone saying goodbye to the version of themselves they always wanted to become.
I guess you gotta see it to believe. Oh, I've been a fool, but it's cool. That's what human beings do. Keep your eyes to the sky and never glued to your shoes.
September 7th, 2018, McMiller was found unresponsive in his Studio City home. An accidental overdose, fentanyl, cocaine, alcohol. He was 26 years old. The album that sounded like healing was actually something else entirely. The fingers had already been slipping. He told us. He sang it to us. We just weren't listening to what the words actually meant. Mac Miller put his premonition into song. But when a rapper looks at a camera and says, "I ain't gonna make it to 21," and then doesn't, that's when the chills become something else entirely. July 2018, Juice WRLD, Jared Higgins, is 19 years old and sitting in the Power 106 radio studio. Lucid Dreams just went platinum. He hasn't slept. He came straight from an all-night studio session into this interview, riding the kind of momentum that feels like it could never stop. He's laughing. He's loose. He's being 19 in the way that only people who don't know what's coming can be. And then the interviewer brings up a line. Something Juice said recently. Something that landed differently than everything else.
There's a line you recently said too that impacted a lot of people. We're not gonna make it till 21. We're not gonna make it to 21.
Yeah.
You don't feel that way, do you? Or do you honestly feel that way?
The room gets quieter. The interviewer asks him directly, "Do you really feel that way? Do you honestly feel that way?" And what comes out of his mouth next is something nobody in that studio took seriously enough. Something everybody should have written down.
I feel like everybody dying young. You know what I'm saying? Not foreshadowing anything or wishing that upon myself.
No.
But like,
I'm not foreshadowing anything. He said that too. Like even he could feel how heavy the statement was and needed to walk it back a little. But the thing about foreshadowing, you don't decide to do it. It just happens. And then the conversation shifted to XXXTentacion, who had been shot dead just a few weeks before this interview was recorded.
But you have spoken about death and your own demise.
yeah, like everybody dying young. And like, what was X 20?
X was 20, he was 19, and he was sitting in a radio studio doing the math out loud, naming the ages, counting the years, like he was checking the pattern to see where his name fell on the timeline. Then a rumor about a suicide tweet got brought up, and his answer hits completely different now.
Had like, I don't know, somebody had a lot of followers on Facebook. No, I'm alive, bro.
My man.
I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I ain't going nowhere. He said it with a laugh. Confident, 19 years old and bulletproof. Or at least that's what it looked like. 18 months later, on December 8th, 2019, Juice WRLD went into a seizure on the tarmac at Chicago's Midway Airport. He was 21 years old when he was pronounced dead. Exactly the age he said he wouldn't reach. The math he was doing out loud in that studio, it was right. He just didn't know he was solving it about himself. Some artists talk about it, some write it. But when a man looks at a camera and quietly, plainly says, "I think somebody's trying to kill me," and they're right, that's the one that stays with you. Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., Young Dolph, built everything himself. Paper route empire, no label, no cosigns, no compromises. His independence was his armor, but the armor had cracks, and people could see them, even if they didn't say it out loud. He'd survived too much. In 2017, his SUV was ambushed in Charlotte and hit with over 100 rounds. He walked away and dropped bulletproof. Months later in Biloxi, he was shot again. Then, another attempt in Los Angeles. Every time he survived. At some point, it stopped feeling like luck and started feeling delayed. Dolph was moving like a man on borrowed time. And he knew it. So, when someone close to him brought a song called Stay Young, he didn't just pass on it. He pushed back. Like something about it didn't sit right with him on a deeper level.
To drop a song, somebody drop a song, like, I don't stay young and dumb. I ain't gonna understand it. Y'all might understand it, but I wasn't feeling it. So when he called me, when Cub called me, we're like, man, shit, Glock just.
He wasn't feeling it, couldn't connect with it. And in retrospect, when you sit with it, you understand why. Because some part of young Dolph already knew that staying young wasn't in the cards. The message felt hollow because he'd already looked that future in the face too many times to pretend otherwise. On November 17th, 2021, young Dolph walked into Makita's Cookies in Memphis, Tennessee. His city, his neighborhood, a place he'd been 100 times. And two men walked in behind him and opened fire. He was 36 years old. He didn't stay young. He knew the world he was living in. He knew how it worked. He just refused to let that stop him from being exactly who he was, right up until the end. Young Dolph's premonition was quiet, almost private. But some rappers didn't keep it quiet at all. They built their whole legend on living recklessly, and then told the world on camera exactly what they feared most. 1991, NWA has already changed the world. Straight Outta Compton has been out for 3 years, and the culture has never been the same. Eazy-E, Eric Wright, is one of the most powerful men in hip-hop, the architect, the godfather of gangsta rap. And in this moment, on camera, in front of an audience, He's delivering a message that nobody expected from someone like him. Not a diss, not a brag, a warning.
Happen. Catching the disease is the worst thing about
Yeah, that's the word.
That's if you don't wear a condom.
So wear a condom.
Wear a condom.
The man who built a career, rapping about every excess imaginable, standing in front of a camera, urging his fans to protect themselves. In 1991, before the AIDS epidemic had really hit the mainstream, before most people in hip-hop were even willing to say the word, he ate it anyway. And the irony, the terrible gut punch irony of it, is something that only revealed itself years later.
Rap singer Eazy-E has lost his battle with AIDS just 10 days after revealing that he had the disease.
4 years. He went into the hospital in early 1995 convinced it was asthma, a respiratory thing, something manageable, something that could be treated and sent home. He never came home.
When I heard Eazy-E had AIDS, it f***ed me up.
The whole industry was shaken, not just because of who he was, but because of what it meant, that nobody was untouchable, that the lifestyle came with a cost that didn't always look like a bullet. And Eazy, in those final weeks, didn't disappear. He reached out. He issued a statement. He turned the worst thing that had ever happened to him into one last message for the people he loved.
It turned out to be a much-needed wake-up call.
I would like to turn my own problem into something good that will reach out to all my homeboys.
On March 26, 1995, Eric Lynn Wright passed away. He was 31 years old. The disease he warned his fans about in 1991, casually on camera, like it was someone else's problem, was the exact same disease that killed him. He was talking about himself. He just didn't know it yet. Eazy-E's warning came from the lifestyle. But some artists didn't warn. They accused. They named names. They pointed at forces they believed were already closing in. And then those forces arrived right on schedule. Russell Tyrone Jones, Old Dirty Bastard, was never meant to fit anywhere, and that was the point. Wu-Tang's wild card. Unpredictable, unexplainable, able to walk into any room and completely shift its energy. There was nobody like him. By 2003, he was out of prison and signed to Rockefeller Records under Jay-Z. It looked like a comeback, a second act for one of hip-hop's most singular figures. But for years, ODB had been saying something people didn't take seriously. Not in his music, but in interviews and conversations that got brushed off as him just being himself. He kept saying he was being watched, that the government was involved, that the same forces behind Tupac and Biggie were real, and that he was on their list.
CIA killed me. Special cut on the album. They got two. Oh yeah, you got two special cuts on the album.
He wasn't rambling. He was building a case. Slowly, in his own way, in the spaces between performances and interviews, he was laying out a worldview where the deaths around him weren't random, where there was a logic to it, a system, and where he understood himself to be inside that system. People laughed, people wrote it off, but he kept saying it.
Everybody's scared of the government, you know what I'm saying? Because they killed Tupac and they killed Biggie Smalls. I don't care what y'all say.
Whether you believe the conspiracy or not is almost beside the point. What matters is that he believed it. He was walking around with the genuine conviction that the world was dangerous in a specific targeted way, and that he was not protected from it. That's not paranoia as a punchline. That's a man living in a state of constant, quiet dread.
The government brainwash our people with the mind control theory. That's what they do. So it makes our people like it. They keep playing that same song.
He was trying to navigate something. You can hear it in that clip. The way he's choosing words carefully. The way he keeps pulling back from the edge of what he really wants to say. There was more he wasn't telling. More he was holding back. His alarm system was always on, even when the performance was in full swing. On November 13, 2004, 18 months after signing to Rockefeller, on the eve of what would have been his 36th birthday, Old Dirty Bastard collapsed at a recording studio in Manhattan. He was pronounced dead from an accidental overdose. He was 35 years old, and if he was right about any of it, if any piece of what he kept saying on camera turned out to be true, then the most terrifying part is that he saw it coming the whole time. and couldn't stop it